Hello, welcome to the Unrealist podcast today. Today, if you've ever wanted to learn about prefab homes, modular homes, this is your day. We have a great guest, and I can't wait to introduce him. But first, our Unreal Stat of the day. And it's the fact that modular and prefab homes, when you build them, can save up to a third of the cost compared to traditional stick building homes. And that's something, of course, we're passionate about here is efficiency, sustainability, and saving fees and costs. So I find that fascinating, up to a third. And so let me introduce our guest. His name is Mateo Atwi. He's the co-founder of Boxy, a disruptive modular builder out of Louisiana. Mateo has a background doing stints at NASA, so he's launching rockets, and he's also has a background in manufacturing, building things. Mateo, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on the show.
Yeah, great to have you. So tell me, I talked about your background just briefly, but tell me about this. I mean, you were at NASA. You're this is the bleeding edge of technology. You've done some manufacturing, and now you've got this company that's building homes. How did you get into this?
Yeah, so I'll start kind of. I'm really not that far removed from school. I graduated in 2019, and I had the opportunity to go intern at NASA, do some other work. And ultimately, whenever I was leaving school, I really wanted to work in a field where I felt like I could have impact and really make a difference for people's lives and in a big way. And, sort of maybe how people think of the internet back in the late 90s, I really thought that there was an opportunity with construction. It's been a stagnant industry. Change is slow and really hasn't changed that much. So we were, just really excited about it and found an opportunity in that industry. And I felt like, it's maybe where the space industry was 20 years ago before SpaceX and just ripe for a lot of change and a lot of improvements.
Yeah, it's a funny point, right? Like it's something that I followed for some time. It seems that there are all these efficiencies if you can, instead of doing the traditional like stick building, if you can, come up with a more efficient way to build at least parts of the home in a factory first, and you can more easily manage the quality and the consistency of the build and then ship it. It seems like a no-brainer to me, but in fact, that's not the way that people usually build homes, right?
No, it isn't. Yeah, and it is a little bit though of and you mentioned manufacturing is one of my backgrounds. It's really the Industrial Revolution and really trying to harness repeatability, factory quality, and mass production, in a modern way, in a contained environment, in a well clean and lit environment,
Got it. Yeah. So maybe it's a good time for, how do you, I guess, describe, I think you did a pretty good job, but I just want to make sure for our listeners that are not geeks for prefab modular, could you just do a quick rundown of what it is and what makes it so different from, stick building?
Yeah, so there's a handful of reasons it's different. I think one of the biggest lessons that we've learned having done this for a while now is that you can't just slap it together in the factory. You can't just wait for the last minute and start building it based off of some paper plans. You really have to think about how you're going to build things ahead of time and really harness the repeatability element. And so that's what prefab and modular is that we take what work would normally be done on a job site and we try to move it into a covered environment, into a warehouse, into a factory environment. And we try to pre-design and really think how we're going to build this and put this together. Because at the end of the day, it does need to end up on a job site somewhere,
Yep. Yeah. When I first sort of became a fan of prefab, it was back when Dwell magazine did this Dwell home with, I think the company was Resolution for Architecture. And one of the things they were trying to do was get the cost per square foot down to like, I think the goal was like $250 per square foot. I don't know if they were successful in doing that. I feel like every time I looked at it, it was a little bit more than that to get it actually done. But I'm curious, what makes Boxy different than some of those, I wouldn't call that early because maybe they've been doing it for a long time, but some of those ones we saw maybe 5-10 years ago, what makes you all different in what you're doing?
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't think about that all the time. What makes us different, but I should probably think about it more. But what I would say is that we really tried to strip away a lot of the traditional ways of doing it and thinking about it. So we don't build with a lot of lumber. That's pretty unusual in the American market. We try to avoid hiring high skill contractors. Not because we think high skill contractors are bad, but because we want to really design for, say, an average factory worker to be able to come in and build and assemble for us. So I think there's a real emphasis from our side on simplification, and really making it as simple and streamlined as possible. Now, the other big thing that I'd like to say is that we really stress being customer focused, and it's so easy to lose sight of your customer in construction because maybe your customer is a general contractor, maybe your customer is a developer, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be the person who actually lives in that building and works in that building. Now, they still are your customer, and you want to be timely and all these sorts of things for them, but really having an eye for and a mind for what will the end user need and benefit from in this design, in this build. So we try to be very conscientious of that. We try to think about it, and all the value chain and customers in between as well.
So who is your customer? Could I, as a consumer, go somewhere, customize, build, order a home, or is it a contractor? Like who do you typically sell to?
Yeah, so our business has evolved as we've found our niche, and right now I would say our customer is two categories. It is actually in large part sort of an ADU market where people want a smaller home and they want kind of a kit to put it together. We can do a lot of that stuff. But our other big sector is commercial framers, larger scale projects like hotels, hospitals that want to really benefit from the repeatability of panels and trusses and pre-cut, pre-designed structures. So, but kind of on the ADU side, if somebody is looking to build a home and they know they want to do it out of steel, which is our forte right now, we are a good resource. But at the end of the day, it's a value thing. If people value the steel, if they value the strength and the rigidity and the assembly process, then it's something where we can really provide people a lot of value, and they can come to us and we can connect them with the right designers and the right people to build their home.
Yes, you mentioned ADUs or accessory dwelling units. I understand, especially in places like I think Nashville right now, those are really hot. California, some other places where they've even had to change the laws so that people can put these in on their property. Did you get into this kind of based on the market telling you, hey, this is hot and we need more of these? Or was this always sort of a direction you wanted to take the business?
That's a good question. We really, affordability has always been, I think, one of our core goals is making more affordable structures. And ADUs are, the reason they're so popular is because they are providing an affordable option for those markets, right? So I think it has been a very desirable place for us to be because, either you build with more scale or you build smaller to make it cheaper. So, I think there was some intentionality because of the affordability aspect.
Got it. And so let's talk about the cost. Whether it's an ADU or maybe something larger, and perhaps you could discuss it in terms of price per square foot. How much does it cost to, first, I guess, order one of these boxy units, and then try to walk through all the way through to the end to get it actually built, because there are always these other costs that come along with it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It never is, unfortunately, a clean process right now unless you build a completely prefab, mobile home type unit or something like that. But we actually don't sell, say, a completed unit. We just sell the kit part. But on the kit side, looking at buying just the framing from us, we're it's highly dependent on the design, but we're anywhere from, I'd say the lowest we can really go is $8 a square foot for the kit, up to in the $20 per square foot range if you're buying it from us with some prefabricated and pre-assembled components included.
Wow, that's much lower cost than I expected. So I buy
Yeah,
the
but keep
kit
in mind,
from
it's
you.
just the framing, no slab. It's not no plywood. It's just the framing portion of it. That's what we've really dove into over the last year.
Okay, so someone buys that from you. Is this typically a contractor or a consumer that would buy that from you?
It can be a homeowner who wants to be very involved with their build, but generally
Mm-hmm.
speaking, if you have a contractor who buys it from us, they will have the best knowledge and ability to put it together.
Okay. So this contractor buys this unit from you, and then you build it. Is it a custom build?
So we do have some kind of stock units that we can are already designed, and people can just have them engineered for their area, and then we can send them a package. Um, but we also do a lot of custom work where people will say, I need this size building, I have this design in mind, and we'll take it and we'll actually design based off of what they want.
Got it. Got it. And so then it's shipped to the location. Is that typically how it works?
Yep, it usually comes what we call panelized on a truck bed. So you've got all your wall panels and any roof trusses and things like that, and then the framer or whoever is erecting the building will take all these components and stand them up based off of provided plans.
So when you think about the overall costs, you've got the contractor has an let's say, I don't know what the size of an average ADU unit is. It was about 500 square feet. Is it smaller? I don't know.
We see all sorts of different things.
Okay.
We'll see people building, 50 square foot sheds to slightly larger than that, to homes that are about, kind of smaller side, 1,200 square feet. So
Okay.
we've seen a wide range of things coming out. It's really dependent on what can people fit in their yard and their lot.
Sure. Sure. So, thinking about a lot of our listeners and sort of social graph, if you will, there are often a lot of people that are, looking for creative ways to increase the value of their property, and the ADU is one of them. So they're looking at, okay, how do I, create maybe an ADU that I can put on Airbnb and rent out, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe I rent the whole property out, and having the ADU makes it so I can rent it for a little bit more, and more people can go on the property. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, the cost. So pick your kind of average unit. What other costs go into it between you got to pay this contractor, right? You have to put the slab down, you mentioned, getting it actually, built and finished. What is sort of an average cost all in for one of these units?
Yeah, it's again, it's really dependent on what goes into the design. If you want to have a really fancy tiled shower inside of that ADU and huge, huge sliding glass doors, that it increased costs. But I'd say for a high end ADU, you can build something in the the $200 to $300 per square foot range. If you really strip it down and use our product the most efficient way possible and really bare minimum, I think you could, keep it in that 100 to 150 range. You just have to be very, very frugal about it. And so again, it's all about the finishes. Now, if
Sure.
people are interested in learning more and connecting with ADU builders, we have relationships with builders who would definitely be interested, especially on the higher end side of presenting some highly sustainable, well-designed options.
Got it. That's great. Okay, so just switching gears a little bit now. Sustainability. One of the things I learned early on is that this like the traditional stick building has a ton of waste, and it's not something that people think about a lot. But you think about all the materials that go into building a home, and you're not using all of them. It has to kind of be thrown away or typically not used somewhere. So could you talk a little bit about the sustainability of using boxy and how that compares to the traditional building process?
Yeah. So, it's really incredible how once you start doing things in a factory, in a shop environment, you're not throwing away everything that you would on a job site, because if you have excess material on a job site, you either have to haul it to the next job site, which may not be close, or you have to just dispose of it, or it gets rained on and gets ruined. So there's those three outcomes that are all removed in the factory, because if you have some extra material, you put it on the shelf and save it for the next project, because your next project is going to be in the same space. If it won't rain on your materials if you store them in your warehouse. It won't. There's no kind of time and cost associated with moving materials for other projects that might not be in the right stage. Again, you just put it on the shelf. So all those factors combined with a very streamlined manufacturing process. So, for example, we use steel because we can do CNC roll forming. And that allows us to just cut as much material as we need for a given build. We don't cut any extra material, just what we need. And we put in that build. And so, whereas you might see 20% waste on a factory in a field site, so you might see 20% thrown into the dumpster in the field. You may see 2 or 3% being recycled in our shop. And that's actually just, metal that we put into a recycling bin and reuse on we send it back to scrappers for money. So there is both the reuse ability and the only use as much as you need.
I get it. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating how much simply being in a factory setting leads to savings. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it makes a lot of sense now that you say it. Okay, so tell me more about the process. How do I order my boxy, unit?
Yeah. So I am the principal salesperson there, and so you can people can reach out to me. They can reach out to me at my email, mateo.atwi@boxyconstruction.com. Or you can visit our website, Boxy Construction, or usframefactory.com. That's a website where we sell these framing packages. And there you can find different buildings that we list that people can look at for ideas. And if they don't like it, well, they can order those that they see there. Or if they don't like it, we can walk them through the process of designing a different building. Or as I mentioned earlier, we can connect people with actual ADU builders that we supply kits to, who would be happy to entertain their projects.
And when you talk about, designers, and I want to cycle back to this a little bit, assume I'm an architecture geek, right? And I really want something that's very sleek or whatever it is, right? What sort of limits are in place? Do you only sort of sell a certain kit that has a look and feel that is one way, or could you say, look, like we can match all types of different architectural sort of tastes using this kit as a base?
Yeah, we, the products that we work with, the steel framing system that we work with, is fairly versatile. It can do a lot of the typical shapes that wood can do. But at the same time, it comes down to cost. Do you want to optimize the structure of the build, or would you prefer to optimize the the look and the feel? And it depends what market you're in, but people really can change a lot. That being said, there are specific things that we can do to optimize the design to be built and to be assembled with steel. And that's a process that we can walk, people who are interested in an ADU through. We can tell them all the ways that you can optimize to be built quickly and efficiently with steel.
And from start to finish, how long does the process take? I mean, from when I order it to when it's, sitting on the land.
Yeah, I mean, for an ADU, for a smaller building, it may take us, if the design portion doesn't take too long, I mean, figuring out what they want, the actual manufacturing cycle is very quick. It may take a week or two to detail a very small building, and then another week or two to manufacture. So let's say a month for a custom build. And then if it's something that we've built before, or that, is kind of a very simple package, it could be as quick as 2 weeks to really turn around a build.
Okay. So you build it, it gets shipped, and then how long to, actually get it up and livable?
Yeah. I mean, again, a simple frame will be probably, a week on the job site to do all the anchoring and fastening. And then there's going to be the usual build out times, but you really accelerate the framing time significantly. And we also, this is kind of our high level, what we offer to most people. But if people work with us closely, we will help them optimize their designs and their modules even more. And we'll do things like pre-sheathe and insulate and do all these things that add value and cut time on the job site.
That's awesome. Okay, so It sounds like there are major advantages to a modular build. First of all, there's cost. Second of all, there's the quality, the repeatability of building something in a factory with people that have been trained to build the same things over and over again. And then lastly, major savings with respect to sustainability and waste. And so these are really interesting, pieces to this that, some people I'm sure have not really thought about, but should. I think modular building is one of those things that is the way of the future. Like I think so many more homes are going to be built this way than have been in the past. So it's just a matter of time for people to sort of catch on to it.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. So, this is my favorite part of the show. First of all, thank you for being on. You'll receive a gift in the mail. We're going to do the fit check. So I'll go first. Today I've got our new hoodie on. And these will be actually available on our website pretty soon. Custom designed, custom made, our own look and feel. And let's see, in case can you guys see it? Yeah, I think you can see it. But it has an Unreal logo. On your side, I think you're going to do sneakers today. What are you rocking?
Yeah, I'm just rocking some pretty simple shoes. I'm in the car. I got my Under Armour sneakers.
Okay.
Nothing too fancy. But I was on a job site today. I kind of wear my rough shoes sometimes just to get around.
Oh yeah, man! If you're on a job site, you don't want to mess up your grails, right? I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so want to make sure people can find you. Where's the best place to reach? I know you gave us your email address, but maybe you want to give it again, and then any other message you want to leave with our listeners.
Yeah. If you really want to connect with me, LinkedIn is a great place. We post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and you can just find me with my name, Mateo Atwi. We have Boxy Construction and boxyconstruction.com. That's what we really started with. That's what got us into the business, me and my brother, Tiago. And then you can access them at boxyconstruction.com. And then, what we've really been passionate in pursuing, through Boxy is this, subdivision called US Frame Factory. And you can access them at usframefactory.com. Real quick, we started US Frame Factory because we were learning that to be really good at modular, we had to be really good at framing. And so that company just focuses on framing and framing solutions. So those are the two best ways to reach us. Go to our websites. We have a lot of cool estimating calculators that we've put together on those websites for people to use. And basically, you go enter in your building dimensions, and you can get an instant estimate without sending in your email or phone number for what it costs to build a building. We're really passionate about people being able to see these things early and easily without, having to talk to us, really. And, just for the average, maybe developer or business person interested in modular out there, we are at our core a solutions provider. We try to figure out what's your business need, what are you trying to accomplish with construction, with prefab, and how we can either add value either through our business or through the other modular businesses that we know. It's not about just our business growing. It's about helping the industry move forward and helping the industry really evolve and advance.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I find that, and we work with other, flat fee home sellers as an example, all the time. And I think that when you want to have a larger impact, sometimes you do it in a community, right? It's not just on your own. So, totally feel you on that. All right. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today on the show. Looking forward to connecting offline and sending you your materials. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Kyle.